I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Can I have a moment of silence, please? Stand for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call. Mrs. Turner?
Here.
Mr. Bromhall? Mr. Gaffney?
Here.
Mrs. Iacone?
Here.
Mr. Kenny?
Here.
Mr. McGuckin?
Here.
Mrs. Quinn?
Here.
Mrs. Trompe?
Here.
Ms. Fitzwater? Here. Statement is hereby made that adequate notice of this meeting was given by submission of said notice to the Burlington County Times, the Courier Post, the Cinnaminson Township Clerk, and the district website on January 14th, 2021. We're going to move down to Section 4, routine business. We have A, the Board Secretary's report, B, the Treasurer's report, C, the Budget Receipts and Transfers report, D, the monthly transfer report as of February 9th, 2022, E, the high school activities report for January 2022, F, the food service management cost performance statement, E, the certified bill list, January 13th through January 31st, 2022, and February 1st through February 9th, 2022. Approval of minutes, the regular minutes from January 18th, 2022, confidential minutes from January 18th, and the regular minutes from January 25th, 2022. Mrs. Turner, can I have a motion to approve Section 4, items A through H?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Trompe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Quinn?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Moving to Section 5, routine matters. We have the enrollment report as of February 11th, 2022, the health report for January, the fire alarm report for January, the crisis drill report for January, no HIB report, and the superintendent's monthly report. Mr. Capello.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Thank you, members of the board, and thank you, members of the public who've joined us for this evening's regularly scheduled board meeting. A couple of people I'd like to recognize, as we do often during the superintendent's report. For parents who are here in attendance and families, you may have seen on our social media or seen in announcements that came home that yesterday our students were asked to bring in a box of cereal to donate to families in need. We have local partnerships with food pantries and the Food Bank of South Jersey where all of these cereal boxes will be donated. And I'd like to thank and recognize Ms. DiClemente, the district's character education facilitator, who helped coordinate this effort, similar to many of the collections that we have done in the past. Last week was National School Counselors Week, and I'd like to recognize all of the counselors in the district for the great job that they do. We appreciate everything they do on behalf of our students, from mental health awareness and wellness to social and emotional learning, to helping our students prepare themselves for college and career readiness. And as the world celebrates the Winter Olympics in Beijing, we're also celebrating a different kind of Olympics here in Cinnaminson. I invite our families to follow a new social media page at New Albany Collaboratory to find out about New Albany's Collaboratory Coding Olympics. There was a video that I was able to see today of our second grade students and their coding robots to do a slalom challenge. Very neat stuff there, and congratulations and thank you to Miss Oliver at the New Albany School for the great job she's doing with our STEM students. Also, congratulations to our Rush Project Challenge students who submitted entries to the U.S. Army's Steam Tank Challenge. All entrants have advanced to the regional contest. And this event, for those of you who are not familiar with it, is sponsored by the United States Army and the New Jersey School Boards Association. And the Steam Tank Challenge encourages students to apply science, technology, engineering, math, and the arts in response to facing and solving real-world problems. So great job by those Project Challenge students. For our Rush students as well, we'd ask them to keep an eye out for the Future Chefs Competition, an annual competition sponsored by our food service provider, Sodexo, and that competition will take place here at the middle school just ahead of next month's Board of Education meeting. Best of luck to our CMS drama students who will be performing Moana Jr. If we're lucky, we might be able to hear them singing and performing down the hall. They open on February 25th, and shortly thereafter, our high school drama department will be performing The Addams Family, which premieres on March 18th. Best of luck to all performers. Finally, I'd like to address the current status of the COVID-19 pandemic in Cinnaminson schools. In terms of community transmission, a bit of a recap. The highest total number of cases in Cinnaminson was reported just over a month ago on January 3rd and January 4th, where the township was averaging approximately 65 new cases per day. Currently, the township averages around 2 new confirmed and 1 probable case, and that is as of today, as reported by the Burlington County Department of Health. And as members of the board are aware, and members of the public no doubt as well, Governor Murphy, in his speech on February 7th, announced that as of March 7th, Executive Order 251, which mandated mask wearing for students and staff, was due to expire. That announcement, coupled with the COVID-19 case trends in the Cinnaminson community, have led to my recommendation to the Board of Education that our district move forward to a mask-encouraged or mask-optional status for students. Masks will continue to be encouraged while local region transmission rates are labeled or designated as high. But ultimately, families will have the opportunity to make individual decisions. I should point out that at all times, we will respect the decision of all of our students and faculty who choose to continue the practice of wearing face coverings. One asterisk I should point out in the plan is while we continue to await the promised guidelines from the New Jersey Department of Health, which will hopefully update current recommendations for close contact and the requisite quarantines that go along with them. Likewise, I should also point out that face masks will still be required on public school buses as per federal guidelines under Section 361 of the Public Health Service Act, and that can be found in Chapter 264 of the United States Code, Section 42. A revised copy of the Pirate Path Forward is on the agenda for approval this evening, and families will receive notification of these anticipated changes tomorrow. We remain hopeful that this downward trajectory continues as we continue to remain diligent in promoting social distancing to the greatest extent possible. We encourage hand washing and enhanced cleaning in all district facilities and transportation vehicles. And to every parent that reached out to me directly and to board members as well, we thank you for your communication and thank you for your support, and we appreciate your correspondence and future correspondence as well. Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. That's my superintendent's report.
Mr. McGuckin, can I have a motion to approve Section 5 routine matters, letters A through F?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mrs. Iacone?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 6, student representative reports. First, we'll hear from our high school representative, Allie Neidert.
Thank you. The Golden Apple Award for February was presented to Ms. Marty Senicola by Senior Tess Hawk. The students of the month for January are as follows. Class of 2022, Gina Marie Height. Class of 2023, Samantha Megan. Class of 2024, Nicole Carrera. And Class of 2025, Brandon Smith. Here's our update on sports. The wrestling team matches are complete. They won the Patriot Division. Their record is 9-15 and will go on with individual matches with their next district match Saturday at Seneca. The swim team was seeded 4th going into the state tournament playoffs in the Central Group C division. We had a first-round bye and defeated Rumson Fairhaven High School on February 9th in the second round of playoffs. The boys' basketball current record is 9-11. They have a game tonight at home at 5:15 versus Camden Charter. It is their senior night. The girls' basketball current record is 17-5, and their senior night is Thursday at 5:15 versus Collingswood. They entered the playoffs in the 2nd seed. The mock trial team finished their competitions and ended with a 2-3 record. They came in 4th place in the county. Congratulations to all involved. Interact members made 184 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for Cathedral Kitchen in Camden, and they are working on making blankets for the Linus Project. We'll be making sandwiches on a monthly basis. During the month of February, Student Council is collecting new or gently used hats and gloves, emergency Mylar blankets, Gatorade, Boost protein drinks, and Cup of Soup packs to help Hand and Heart, a community outreach organization, so they can distribute to those in need. All donations can be dropped off at the high school. Congratulations to Hannah Ortiz-Strauss, the Poetry Out Loud New Jersey Region 1 finalist. We all wish her luck as she moves forward to the state finals on March 2nd. On Thursday, February 10th, students in SAD participated in Sticker Shock, which is a national campaign to reduce underage drinking by limiting youth access to alcohol. The campaign is designed to discourage adults from buying alcohol for minors by educating them about the dangers and consequences of these actions. Students conducted a Sticker Shock event at the Wine Cellar in Cinnaminson. Thank you to our community for helping our students participate in the campaign. The spring musical has been progressing nicely, and we're excited to present The Addams Family from March 18th to 20th. Our cast, stage crew, and pit continue to put in the hard work on stage and at home as we hone our craft in the coming weeks. Our students, family, and staff are coming together and making the production of this musical one to remember. We appreciate the continued support of the CHS Drama Booster Club and our local business community. The NHS blood drive was held on 2/4/22. We had over 94 positive donations. Currently, NHS students are planning to tour 8th grade families around the building for course selection. So far this year, TSA has run 3 successful fundraisers using classroom technology. Students use design software and laser cutters to create custom ornaments and wooden rosograms for Valentine's Day. They're also trying to use their resources and skills to support our high school student athletes through the sale of big head cutouts. Since October, students have been working on their projects for the state competition, which will be held virtually on March 30th. If students advance, the national conference will be held in Orlando, Florida.
Thank you, Ally. Any comments or questions for Ally?
No, thank you.
Great job.
All right, we'll move to the middle school report. Olivia Ruggieri.
Good evening to all of you. Our students of the month for January for 6th grade are Louise Pereira, 7th grade Casey Gola, and 8th grade Charlie Payne. 8th grader Robert Jacob is the CMS nominee for BCPSA County 8th grade award demonstrating high academic standards, leadership qualities, and service to the school and community. Congratulations, Robert. On January 28th, CMS participated in a virtual SEL assembly. The virtual sessions focused on mindfulness, mental wellness, and emotional empowerment for our students. For Black History Month, our students are sharing inspirational reflections and contributions of African American both locally and in the world around us. Throughout the month, CMS student volunteers will serve as special guest readers each morning on Pirate TV Homeroom. On February 22nd, it will be 2/22/22, also known as Tuesdays because it falls on Tuesday. CMS will have various 2 themed activities throughout the school. This event will not happen again until the year of 2020-22, or 73,000 days. On Monday, CMS brought in cereal for the Super Bowl Cereal Challenge. After school on Monday, Miss Pallett and Misty Clementi delivered 500 pounds of cereal to the food bank in Pennsauken. This morning, Mrs. Claire Hunter from Hunter's Heroes donated another truckload of cereal to be delivered today. The cereal from the other buildings will be delivered this week. The CMS Pirate Players will be returning to stage with their production of Moana Jr. Shows are Friday 2/25, Saturday 2/26, and Friday and Saturday 3/5 at 7:30 p.m. and Sunday 2/27 and Saturday 3/5 at 2:00 p.m. We are all looking forward to the shows. CMS School District will also be celebrating International SEL Day on Friday, March 11th. Each school will honor this day, providing activities related to social and emotional wellness for our students. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Olivia. Any comments or questions for Olivia?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, good job. All right, we're moving on to Section 7, presentation. The district reports on the student safety data system. Mr. Capello.
Thank you, Mrs. Fitzwater. Presenting this evening, board members will see attached in the agenda the Cinnaminson Township School District Student Safety Data Systems Report, and this is for reporting period 1, September 1st through December 31st, 2021. So essentially the first half of the school year. And as we mentioned, over the course of the last 2 school years, we saw, as one might imagine, a substantial decline in all incidents district-wide, most notably because our students were in a remote setting for extended periods of time. We've also talked very candidly and very publicly about some of the challenges associated with reacclimation to the school program this year. So it doesn't bring me great joy to report to the board, but we have seen a significant increase in incidents year over year. So as we look at this for some context, what the SSDS report calls districts to report twice a year is incidents of violence and vandalism, harassment, intimidation, and bullying, weapons, substance abuse, and instances leading to removal or suspension from the academic program. Likewise, also reporting harassment, intimidation, and bullying trainings and programs. This data is collected to fulfill state and federal requirements, and our report is as follows. On page 1 of the report, you'll see a snapshot summary of report period 1 with a listing of total incidents. At the high school, there are 14, middle school 30, New Albany School for this period 0, Eleanor Rush School 8, and the Memorial School, which is now listed separately because our preschool program is there, is 0. Moving on to page 2, I think presents the best view of our data with a year-over-year from report period 1. At the bottom there is the 2020-2021 school year, and on the top is the current report of the 21-22 school year. Again, those instances totaling 52 total incidents, and you can see them listed across the spreadsheet there, delineated by instance of violence, vandalism, substance abuse, weapons, number of confirmed HIBs, other incidents leading to removal, and the final category of HIB alleged, which is an incident where a harassment, intimidation, and bullying case was alleged, was not founded, but there was still discipline associated with that act. So as board members can see, last year's total of 2 is certainly trumped by this year's total of 52. And I think if there were a silver lining on this, what we have created over the course of this year is a great baseline by which to hopefully see these numbers start to decline as our students gradually become more reacclimated both to the traditional school setting and to our classroom setting as well. And some of the transitions that have happened in between, hopefully, again, students will become more acclimated with the program, and some of the responses and interventions the district has put into place to address some of these issues will hopefully be reflected in future reports. Over the course of the next page, lists the number of HIB trainings and programs, and again, another silver lining. We have the same number of HIB trainings, 33 this year, as we did in the report period last year. So our staff is still being trained on harassment, intimidation, and bullying, but we have had 23 programs this year that qualify under the state report versus 13 programs last year. And that is summarized on the next page. The individual school summaries begin on the next page with the high school, middle school, Rush, New Albany, and ultimately, again, the Memorial School individual school data. So if any members of the board have a question on this or any of the incidents or what we anticipated to be a spike district-wide in most of these areas after the last 2 years of reporting significant decreases, happy to answer any of those questions for the board. That said, my submission of the student safety data report is being submitted to the board, and we will do a follow-up after report period 2 ends on June 30th, 2022. Mrs. Fitzwater?
Do we need a motion for that?
We should take a motion to accept the report, yes.
All right, Mr. Gaffney, can I have a motion to accept the report under Section 7, Presentation, Letter A?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. McGuckin. Comments or
welcome.
questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mrs. Quinn?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to Section 8, correspondence to the board. I've received a few emails. All have been responded to. Anybody have anything else?
No.
Okay. All right. Section 9, the committee reports. We had 2 committee meetings this month. One was the Facilities and Transportation, and Mr. McGuckin, if you would give us a recap.
Sure can. The Facilities Transportation Committee met on February 9th at 6:00 p.m. via Google Meet. The committee meeting began with an update regarding the fuel tank replacement project. T&M Associates will present the plans to the Cinnaminson Planning Board on March 8th, 2022. Bid specifications should be ready in April, and we hope to begin the job in the summer. The maintenance department recently installed an outdoor freezer at Rush Elementary School. They built a wall, a roof for weather protection. The Memorial School preschool room construction plan was reviewed. We recently reviewed approval for Phase 2 from the state of New Jersey. Phase 2 is to be completed in the summer of 2022, and Phase 3, which is the final phase, is to be completed in the summer of 2023. The maintenance department has purchased a new truck, which is currently being fitted for a plow and is expected to arrive March. Company called Route 24 Plumbing and T&M Associates were on site at the Memorial School to scope the sewer lines. We are still awaiting the results from that. The Memorial School Administration Conference Room is being renovated through the month of February. The maintenance team is doing a wonderful job. The use of the school facilities and grounds by nonprofit organizations was discussed. The committee may review, update the policy in the near future. Lastly, Mr. Capello discussed the updates of the Pirate Path Forward that will be presented for board approval on February 15th. The next meeting of the Facilities Transportation Committee has not been scheduled at this time. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. McGuckin.
You're welcome.
The Finance Personnel Committee also met, and Mr. Gaffney has that report.
Sure. The Finance Personnel Committee met on February the 9th at 5 o'clock by way of Google Meet. The following 2022-2023 budget items were reviewed. Personnel needs, retirements, child study team staffing needs, bank cap, and tax levy. The governor's budget address is scheduled for March the 8th. State aid will be released within 48 hours of his presentation. Preliminary transmission of the budget is due March the 22nd. Due to the extensions granted by the Department of Education, the fiscal year 21 audit will be filed by March 15th. This time, there are no audit recommendations. The audit will be reviewed at a regular scheduled Board of Education meeting, and that date is to be determined. Lastly, Mr. Capello, as he mentioned tonight, discussed the updates to the Pirate Path Forward that will be presented for the board approval on February the 14th, which is tonight. And the next meeting of the Personnel Finance Committee has not been scheduled out of this time. And that is our report.
Thank you, Mr. Gaffney. Ms. Trompe, can I have a motion to approve the committee reports as letter A under section 9?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Turner. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Quinn?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. Moving on to section 10, public comment on items appearing on the agenda. Members of the public are reminded that comments should be limited to items appearing on this evening's agenda. There will be another opportunity during this meeting to comment on non-agenda items. All members of the public wishing to speak on agenda items only should raise their hand to indicate their wish to speak. If you are, or when you are called upon, participants should state their first and last name and address clearly for the record. In accordance with Cinnaminson Board of Education Bylaw 0164.6, comments will be limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person. The comment period will be limited to 30 minutes in duration. The business administrator will give you a warning when you have 1 minute remaining. Members of the public should be respectful and avoid back and forth or debate with the administrator, professional, or board member. We will respond when necessary. With that said, any members of the public wish to comment on any agenda items tonight?
Yes. Can you all hear me?
Ma'am, if you would, we actually have a microphone provided
Meet me at the
over
mic.
there.
I figure I was loud enough. But you got it. My name is Brittany Relvis, 707 Foxcroft Drive. I was here last month, but some didn't want to speak. I've left messages. Some don't want to return calls. There's so many things I want to say up here, but right now the one thing I want to say is 52. 52 Hibs. That's not even counting all the other assaults and everything that's happening in this middle school right now. I have 2 boys that are there. We came from a Catholic school. I just bought my first house. I'm proud. I want to be part of this town. But seeing some of the things that are happening here is disgusting, okay? You can blame it on remote learning, virtual learning, whatever you want to blame it on. But the real thing is you need to look at the bigger picture. Talk to these kids. You got officers in this room that are amazing. I see these officers with these kids at Fountain, at Wood Park. They're talking to these kids. They're playing sports with them. They know what's going on. And then we got them here tonight. They don't want to be here tonight to tell us that we have to put a face mask on, because it's so much bigger here than that. So much bigger. You bullied me, you kicked us out, we went virtual, I spoke. So I'm gonna say it again. My kids were healthy quarantined because a nurse who cannot pick my kids out of a hat, okay, decided that they had close contact. My one twin has been assaulted twice. He's been hit twice. Principal's here, she's well aware of it. So you can't figure out how to keep my kids safe, but you can tell me what has close contact and who hasn't? So what I figured out was close contact was called at lunchtime. So I'm going to say it again, just like I said it last month. I'm asking for my kids to be separated. Let them have a chance to have an education because they're healthy, okay? My kids' mental health is declining. When you call and make a statement, you got FSO, you've got mobile response that want it. No. You're going to have more problems if you guys keep doing what you're doing to these kids. I cannot wait to see March 7th, to see these smiles on all these kids' faces. And for those of you who think that it's not your kid, you are crazy, okay? These kids are not happy. So keep counting up the Hibs and all the ones that are swept underneath the carpet, but you guys should all be concerned. 52. Think about that. We're in February. Thank you.
Any other members of the public who would like to speak on agenda items? Again, I'd ask that your comments be limited to items on the agenda.
Healthy quarantine kids. Those were both on the agenda.
Seeing as there are none, I think we can move on.
All right, moving on to section 11, personnel certificated. Mr. Capello.
Thank you again, Mrs. Fitzwater. Under Section 11, Personnel Certificated, letter A. Number 1, seeking the board to approve the resignation for the purposes of retirement of Ms. Charmaine McCool, Cinnaminson High School, after 25 years of service to the students of Cinnaminson. We thank her and congratulate her on her retirement. Under number 2, seeking the board to approve the resignation for purposes of retirement of Ms. Nancy McGann at the New Albany School after 22 years of service to the students of Cinnaminson. Again, we congratulate her and thank her for her service. Under letter B, seeking the board to approve the appointment of Victoria Champagne, Rush School, to long-term substitute, effective February 7th, 2022, until on or about March 18th, 2022. Under letter C, teaching overload, seeking the board to approve Gail Maurer at the middle school for an overage of 1 period for social studies, February 1st till on or about March 18th, 2022. Under number 2, seeking the board to ratify and affirm Rob Becker, social studies supervisor, to cover 1 period, 4 days a week, the Rush School, beginning February 7th, 2022. Under letter D, advancements on the salary guide, seeking the following certified staff members to have an advancement on the S1 salary guide, and those names and respective degrees in longevity and stipends and total are listed in the agenda under letter D. Extra duty appointments, seeking the board to approve Kate Isaiah as Memorial School Technology Representative, effective February 1st, 2022, for the remainder of the 21-22 school year. Under number 2, seeking the board to approve spring coaches for the 21-22 school year as attached. Letter F, leave of absences, seeking the board to approve the following leave of absences, which are listed in the agenda under section 11F. There are 3 of them. Under letter G, substitute teachers and nurses, seeking the board to approve the following substitute teachers to be called on an as-needed basis for the remainder of the 21-22 school year, and they are Michael Barrett, Callista Klein, and Diana Bissinger. Seeking the board to accept the resignation for personal reasons of Monique Burrell-Sharnarski, permanent substitute teacher number 1, at the middle school, effective February 18th, 2022. Number 3, seeking the board to approve Pagan DeSalvio as permanent substitute teacher number 1 at the middle school, effective February 22nd, 2022, for the remainder of the school year. Under letter H, tutors, seeking the board to approve the following staff as tutors to be called on an as-needed basis for the remainder of the 21-22 school year. Those names are listed under H1 in the agenda. Under number 2, seeking the board to ratify and affirm Melissa Crane as a homebound tutor for 2.5 hours weekly, retroactive to February 1st, 22. For the remainder of the 21-22 school year to cover for a staff member on leave. Under number 3, seeking the board to approve Jacqueline O'Flynn, Rush School, as the Strategies for Success after-school tutor for the remainder of the 21-22 school year, with that salary being paid out of ARP ESSER funds. Under letter I, seeking the board to approve Richard Schwartz and Gabrielle Lopez for student observations from the College of New Jersey under the supervision of Lauren Coker, high school teacher, for 1 half-day on February 22nd, 22. And under number 2, seeking the board to approve the below-listed students, teachers for field experience from Rowan University. And they will do these activities 1 day a week, beginning on February 17th, 22 through April 7th, 2022. And those names are listed with their respective cooperating teacher in the agenda under letter I. Under letter J, mentor teachers, seeking the board to approve the mentor teachers for the provisional teacher listed with them for the 21-22 school year, and that is listed Rush School Victoria Champagne, who will be working with the mentor teacher, Michelle Reisman. Mrs. Fitzwater, that is certificated staff.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Mr. Kenny, can I have a motion to approve Section 11 personnel certificated letters A through J?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Trompe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Iacone?
Aye.
Aye.
No to 11A, yes to everything else.
Aye.
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 Aye, motion approved. Going to Section 12, personnel non-certificated. Mr. Capello.
Thank you once again, Mrs. Fitzwater. Under Section 12, letter A, seeking the board to ratify and affirm the resignation for personal reasons of Anne-Marie Kirby, special education aide, ABA Tech at the high school, retroactive to February 14th, 2021. Under number 2, seeking the board to ratify and affirm the appointment and resignation for personal reasons of Amy Unger, special education, ABA Tech at the Memorial Annex as of February 8th, 2022. Under leaves of absence, is seeking the board to approve the extension of an unpaid leave of absence, and that employee number is listed and effective March 3rd in the agenda under letter B, and that will be for the remainder of the 21-22 school year. Under letter C, appointments, seeking the board to ratify and affirm the appointment of Timothy Nichter, school bus driver in the Transportation Department, that appointment retroactive to January 31st, 2022, 4 hours daily. Under letter D, extra duty, seeking the board to ratify and affirm the request for Doreen Hubble, special education aide at the Rush School, to work 1 hour retroactively January 19th, 2021, to attend floor hockey with her assigned student. Under number 2, the board to approve the request of Kelly Rooney, special education aide, classroom aide at the Rush School, to be a substitute in the absence of the previously approved aides for the floor hockey after-school program with assigned students. Under number 3, seeking the board to ratify and affirm Marley Gonzalez Champagne, ABA special ed tech, special ed aide, ABA Tech at the high school, for providing translation services during CST parent meetings, and that's retroactive to February 1st, 2022. Under number 4, seeking the board to approve the request for Kelly Croon to complete 2 days of safety care training on February 15th and February 22nd, 2022, for a total of 12 hours. Under letter E, transfer, seeking the board to ratify and affirm the transfer of Andrew Pullen, special education classroom aide from the Rush School to the high school in the MD class, retroactive to February 11th, 2022. And seeking the board to approve the transfer of Cody Meegan at the Rush School effective February 16th, 2022, to the position of special education aide classroom aide, from special education classroom aide to special education aide, ABA Tech. And under job descriptions, we have none. And substitute volunteers, seeking the board to approve an increase to the substitute school bus aide rate of pay to $16 an hour effective February 16th, 2022 for the remainder of the 21-22 school year, and effective July 1st for that rate increase to go to $16.50 an hour for the 2022-2023 school year. And that is non-certificated, Section 12, Mrs. Fitzwater.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Ms. Quinn, can I have a motion to approve Section 12, non-certificated items A through G?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Trompe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Iacone?
Aye.
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 Aye, motion approved. Moving on to Section 13, curriculum and instruction. Dr. Goldburn.
Thank you very much. Under 13, letter A, requesting board approval of the professional development requests that are attached. And under letter B, requesting board approval of the field trip requests that are attached. And Mrs. Fitzwater, that's it for this month.
Thank you, Dr. Goldburn. Ms. Iacone, can I have a motion to approve Section 13, curriculum and instruction, items A and B?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Penny. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Quinn?
Aye.
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 Aye, motion approved. Moving on to Section 14, special education. Mrs. Llewellyn.
Thank you. Under letter A, contracts, there are none.
Under letter B, student placements, seeking the board to ratify and affirm the tuition contract agreement with Burlington County Special Services for one student from January 25th until June 20th, 2022. Under letter C, consultant agreement, there are none. And that is it under special education.
Thank you, Ms. Llewellyn. Mrs. Turner, can I have a motion to approve Section 14, Special Ed, Item B?
So moved.
Second?
Second. Second.
Thank you, Mr. Gaffney. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Iacone?
Aye.
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 Aye, motion approved. Item 15, policy, letter A, policy and regulations. Mr. Capello.
Thank you again, Mrs. Fitzwater. We do have one item under policy and regulation, seeking the board to approve on first reading the following policy. That's policy 1648.11, the Pirate Path Forward, third revision.
Thank you, Mr. Capello. Mr. McGuckin, can I have a motion to approve Section 15, policy, letter A?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Trompe. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Iacone?
Aye.
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 Aye, motion approved. Moving on to Section 16, business and finance. Ms. Livingood.
Thank you. Item A, grants, that the board accepts the revised 2021 to 2022 funding statement for services under Chapter 192, 193 is attached. Item B, finance, we have none. Item C, operations, that the board approves the resolution to appoint Melissa Livingood, Business Administrator, as the School Health Insurance Fund Commissioner for the district as attached. And item D, contracts, that the board authorizes the board secretary, business administrator to solicit requests for professional services for a school physician for the remainder of the 2021 to 2022 school year and for the year of 2022 to 2023. And that is it for business and finance.
Thank you, Ms. Livingood. Mr. Gaffney, can I have a motion to approve Section 16, business and finance, letters A through D?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you to everybody. Comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. Ms. Quinn?
Aye.
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 Aye, motion approved. 17, we have nothing under other
Nothing
business.
under other business.
Moving on to Section 18, public comments on other matters. And just to review, the board will seek public comment on any item at this point. Members of the public are reminded if you wish to speak, you need to state your name and your address. And in accordance with Cinnaminson Board of Education Law 0164.6, comments will be limited to a maximum of 4 minutes per person, and the comment period will last for 30 minutes.
With that, public comment is open, sir. There's a microphone over there.
My name's Marty Lane. I live at 806 Meeting House Road, and I was just wondering, at the beginning of the meeting, you stated that on March 7th, you were recommending that the mask be optional in school. Is it, you guys still have to vote on that, or is that it?
Sir, that was voted on in the policy reapproval of Pirate Path Forward, which includes language that as of March 7th, we'll be moving to mask optional status. So that is already
Okay.
passed.
All right, thanks for clearing that up.
Thank you, appreciate it. Anyone else wishing to address the board?
My name is Mary Beth Hankins. I live at 705 Windsor Drive. I just wanted to ask about the Healthy Kids Stay. I wanted to bring up something that happened today that I just think is absolutely outrageous. My daughter was sent home from school today at 1:10 in the afternoon. It's not the first time it's happened because of possible exposure. They handpicked 3 kids out of her class that had possible exposure to a student who was sent home sick on Friday. So they went all weekend. They were allowed back in school yesterday, and basically 3/4 of today, and then she was sent home to quarantine for the rest of today and tomorrow and allowed to return back to school on Thursday. She has no symptoms. She's not shown any signs of symptoms. She's not sick. And now she has to stay home. Thankfully, I'm in a position where there's someone to be with her. But if this was my 6-year-old, I would have no option. I would have to miss work. I would have to lose pay, which to some people, hey, that's okay. But to me, every day that I work is extremely important to me because I need that money. Now, because of the poor decision-making, I guess, because they were sent home sick on Friday, they were allowed back in school yesterday and sent home half a day today. Where does that make sense? I don't understand how that's okay and how that is all of a sudden now, because the PCR results came back for the student, everybody has to go home. Do you know how many people she's been in contact with yesterday? They had open recess today. How are you going to contact all those kids? It doesn't make sense. You can't send home healthy kids because they've been in contact. How many people are you in contact with on the weekends that are sick? Do you quarantine? You don't miss a day of work. You're here every day. You're doing your job every day and being paid. But yet, because she was in contact with someone on Friday, now she has to stay home. It doesn't make sense. Healthy kids should be in school. This is ridiculous.
Thank you. Any other members of the public that wish to address the board at this time?
I'm going to come up front. Good evening, board members. I really prefer not to be here, but I feel compelled to be here to stick up for all the kids in this school district. My name is Eileen Bleistein. My address is 812 Windsor Drive. I'm a proud parent of 5 children. My youngest is here. She's a senior this year. It is unlawful to require someone to wear a mask. That being said, I'm choosing to wear this because I have some things that I want on the record, and I want you all to hear. First of all, I do want to thank you all for your service. I know that you took this position because you really care about our kids. We care about our kids. What you're doing is unlawful. I want to explain some things to you, and I'm nervous, and I don't want to do this. So you all took an oath to the Constitution. Every teacher did. It's part of the law. I have the law right here. Part of that says you took an oath as a teacher, as a board member. Any and all who is a subject or a citizen of any other country who is so employed by the state of New Jersey shall likewise subscribe to an oath to support the Constitution of the United States while so employed, a copy of which oath shall be filed with the employer. So you have an oath. You took an oath to the Constitution. Okay. So you all have bonds. You have bonds. I also have that. You have a bond. A claim can be filed against your bond. Your attorney cannot help you with your bond. This is against you, against your position. But when you act outside of the law, your bonding agency does not cover that. So you can be personally held liable. Each one of you, teachers too, you take a bond, but especially you board members, you're violating our rights. So if you do not cease and desist the following, a notice of a claim will be served to you, and it will be also served to your bonding agency. I don't want to do that. Look it up. Go on YouTube and watch, go to Bonds for the Wind. See how many school districts have lost their funding, not just their ESSER funding, all of their funding. Superintendents lost their oath, their bond, and they are no longer employed because of this. I don't want to do it, but you really need to consider what you're doing. So if I file the claim to your bonding agency, they will contact me and I will provide them with proof of the ways that you are violating our children's rights. Our children are a property under the law. They are our property, and you are violating our rights. So these are my demands. These are the things we want you to cease and desist. Masking, make it optional. Stop holding vaccine clinics at the school district. Stop all PCR and COVID testing in schools. Stop contact tracing. Stop quarantining students, especially healthy students. Do do not encourage students to be vaccinated. If I hear one more time of a coach recommending to a kid to get vaccinated, so if they come in contact with
1 minute.
somebody, that they don't have to quarantine so long and they'll miss practice. Are you kidding me? You are practicing medicine without a license. You better look up the law. That's what you're doing. You don't know these children's health status. You don't know anything about that. And also, what about HIPAA? HIPAA's out the door. I hear teachers talking about people's status. Oh, you're vaccinated, you're tested positive. Oh, just give this person your test. You are doing so many unlawful things. So I'm asking you to stop. Start following HIPAA laws. Stop your social emotional learning curriculum. And if you need to return the ESSER funding to do these things for your path forward, do it. And I want to tell you this. Go look it up. There are loopholes when you receive that ESSER 3 money. There are loopholes that you do not have to keep all of these practices in place. You can still keep the money. Do some research. Protect our children. Stop using them. Stop discriminating against people. I want to tell you, Mr.
That's 4
Capella
minutes.
and others have been corrected for their mask
you,
being
ma'am.
under their nose.
Your time has expired. If you could
and
wrap it up,
I have
please.
pictures of people on this board and other people that come up here, even this student, and you do not correct them because they disagree with what you're saying.
Ma'am, your time is up. Thank you
I
for-
understand. And guess what? The rules for the board for 4 minutes applies to the board. It does not apply to the public.
If you'd like to submit something, I'm happy to share
I
it
will
with the board as well.
absolutely
Thank you.
submit something.
Any other
Thank
members
you.
of the public that would like to address the board at this time?
Brittany Relvis, 707 Foxcroft Drive. I'm first going to say defer to my comments that were in the wrong section, even though they're about HIB and the CDC guidelines. You just said something I found very hilarious. You said you would present it. How many times have I called you? You want to answer? We can't answer questions here? Everyone's asking questions, but nobody has to answer them. That's how you guys get away with this stuff. We all get to say whatever we get to say, and you guys go, ho, ho, and get to take your ball and go home. Remember that? Okay? So, again, it makes me sick. You are a bully. We should have a HIB on the board. That's what we should do in the superintendent, because it's absolutely disgusting. Your kids went mask optional. I've called you all week. You have refused to answer my calls. I tried to see you last month in person. You kicked us out, okay? So don't act like you're so concerned and you're going to answer people's questions, because that is a joke, okay? I'm from Shawnee. I graduated. You don't know me, but you do, okay? I know where you come from. So don't come into our town where I pay my taxes and try to bully us, okay? And again, you're going to present it to the board. I'm so glad. I'm going to start emailing. I'm going to CC every single one of you. I'd rather just talk and say what I got to say. Everyone wants to paper chase. I don't got time for all that. I don't have time for your politically correct answer. You should have went mask optional a week ago. Look at Deptford tonight. Look at what they just put out. Their board is shaking in their boots, and they should be, okay? They should be. And you guys will be too, because it's ridiculous. So again, defer back to my other questions, and please, I'm going to ask again, how do I guarantee the safety of my two boys? Remember my poster boy on the cover of the Cinnaminson Sun with the technology? That was my kid. That was my ESSER fund son, okay? So you're welcome. He made your town look great. He would have been a lot cuter if he took the mask off him, though. So I'm telling you right now, my kids ain't here because they're scared, because they've been threatened by teachers. It'll go on your permanent record. It'll go on your permanent record. Guess what? Mommy works in this. Mommy knows what she's doing. I know about this. I know about mobile response. I know about BCS Lumberton and West Hampton. Some of these kids that you have here should be there. It's funny because you don't want to spend the money, but keep letting my kid get hurt. Ridiculous. Should be ashamed of yourself. Answer questions. Stop doing your hiding behind your emails or your secretary that says, we could schedule a time for you to meet, like you're Joe Biden. It's ridiculous.
Any other members of the public that would like to address the board at this time? Seeing none, Mrs. Fitzwater, I think we can move on.
Now we'll go to section 19, comments from the board. Mrs. Turner.
Okay, sorry. Thank you to everyone that participated in our cereal challenge initiated by Ms. DiClemente and the character education director.
Congratulations to the Students of the Month. Good luck to all those participating in the CMS and CHS musical. Thank you to our school counselors. Thank you to Allie and Olivia for the school reports. And thank you to Mrs. McCool, and Mrs. McGann for your years of dedicated service to the families within our Cinnaminson community.
I would like to make a comment. Are you done, Mrs. Turner?
Go ahead, yes.
Okay. So I just want to read from the Code of Ethics for school board members, which we actually do take an oath to. And it says, "A school board member shall abide by the following Code of Ethics for school board members." A, the first one, I will uphold and enforce all laws, rules, and regulations of the State Board of Education and court orders pertaining to schools. So that is our job. That is what we swore an oath. That is why we were voted in by this town, and that is our job to follow that. And I just wanted to point that out. And then also from Executive Order 251 on page 4, number 1, it says, all public, private, and parochial preschool programs and elementary and secondary schools must maintain a policy regarding mandatory use of face masks. And then number 4, it says, it shall be the duty of every person or entity in this state or doing business in this state, and of the members of the governing body, which is us, and every official, including the superintendent, every employee or agent of every political subdivision, and it continues on, to cooperate fully in all matters concerning this order, and to cooperate fully with any administrative orders. So if there are complaints, and people can have any opinion that you want, and you can support it, but just so that you know, we have sworn to follow the executive order, to follow the laws of New Jersey. That is what we are doing. Thank you.
We can wrap this up.
Actually, okay, well, it's, law is 18A 12-24.1. That is the law. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Quinn. We are going to go into executive session.
Need a motion?
Mrs. Trompe, can I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're moving into executive session. We do not anticipate conducting any business after executive session. So I wish you all a good night. And we will see you next month.